Yo, what up, Lucid Crew? Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, I am Lucid Rob, and today we're going to look at videos from all over the internet, looking at creepy, looking at scary, looking at confusing, thought-provoking, all these different things that, I mean, everyone's posting and doesn't really understand if they're real or fake or whatnot. I mean, you know the whole thing, dude. You watch these kinds of videos all the time. I'm not your first time. You're not aversion to this stuff, but that's okay, because I will be your best time. So let's get into it.
You explain it.
I don't know how to explain it. That's the thing.
It's weird.
Yeah, they're new images from James Webb telescopes, but it's showing extremely warped space-time. It's literally physically showing us warped space-time, which you're saying, hey, Andy, what is that? To which I say, I don't know. This guy's saying like it's crazy not only light gets warped, but time gets warped as well.
What? Let me see it again. Yeah, so there's like this star and it looks like it's like stretched out in like a tube. People are saying like parts of the picture or of this thing in space, they're like, oh, you could say that this part was taken 3,000 years ago.
Okay.
And this part that you're looking at here is current day.
Of the same picture?
Yes.
What?
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
That's what he says. Is like the galaxy was so warped that we get to see it literally 3 different times: 0 days, 320 days later, and 1,000 days later in one picture.
I don't understand because the picture was taken at one time.
So I wonder if what we're seeing in that photo is time dilation. I wonder if there's like maybe some black holes or some stars or something happening. And like, I wonder if the vicinity of the photo is big enough to where we're seeing, you know, different mass, right? Different amounts of mass in different parts of the photo that would cause it to warp. The light traveling through or from that area, or both, into this camera, assuming it works like a regular camera, would then be showing, you know, the light bending in different ways and showing different time periods. I'm quite obviously not a space doctor. I'm in an apartment filming myself for YouTube, watching TikToks. So let me know if that makes any sense, or if that's even close to something that we could be looking at.
Yourself for what I consider an extraordinary challenge for any human. A trail camera strategically placed by the police at a crime scene captures an imposing figure reminiscent of Bigfoot's stature. He effortlessly lifts a sizable tree trunk. This impressive feat involves elevating the 12-inch diameter, 25-foot-long log a jaw-dropping 30 feet into the air, followed by a resounding slam. The displayed strength and power exceeds human strength, with the estimated weight of the massive log hitting an impressive 530 pounds. Could this trail camera have captured a genuine Bigfoot in action? Check it out.
It's certainly interesting. The tree trunk didn't look that big, but then again, I don't know how dense it was. The one that he picked up definitely didn't look like it was 530 pounds. Initially, I thought he was just going to like push it over, like with one side still on the ground, in which case that wouldn't be that hard to do. I could potentially do that. Then it just picked it up like a fucking baseball bat and fucking yeeted that shit. So who knows, man? Who knows? But if that tree trunk was actually like 530 pounds and he just fucking yeeted that shit like that, it's pretty impressive. That's very impressive for someone in a fucking suit. Let me know if you believe in Bigfoot. I've heard stories. I've heard stories from people like in person that have said that they've like encountered something that they thought was Bigfoot, like at camp and stuff. Pretty interesting stuff.
This country's being bled like a stuck pig, and I got a conspiracy wall to prove it. Can we talk about time travel? I've been dying all day to talk to you about time travel. This right here is time travel. Everyone I talk to keeps saying, time travel's not real. Are you kidding me? I got loads of proof of time travel. There's all these books that were written in the 1800s, like Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, or 1900 The Last President, even Mark Twain's Yankee and King Arthur's Court. There's even The Wreck of the Titan, or Futility, that predicts the Titanic. So I march my way down the timeline, and you want to know what I find? That a select group of people are controlling the entire world by controlling history. And they're using major historical events as checkpoints for their time travelers. Like the sinking of the Titanic, which was financed by JP Morgan, who was supposed to be on the ship when it sunk, but he, out of nowhere, just a couple hours before it set sail, canceled his plans. But guess who did? 3 of his major competitors who were opposed to a national bank. And I guess it's also just a coincidence that JP Morgan caused the panic of 1907, where he shorted the market. And in 1910 was the meeting on Jekyll Island that no one's supposed to know. It's also just a coincidence that just weeks after JP Morgan wrote a letter to his friend asking if a civilian freightliner being sunk by a German U-boat would pull us into World War I, that the Lusitania sank. And then we have the business plot of 1933, which nobody talks about, which is Prescott Bush, JP Morgan, and a lot of other people are planning to overthrow the government with a violent coup. But then in 1943, when Nikola Tesla dies, who was friends with Mark Twain, who wrote a book that predicted World War I and 9/11, gave all of his information to John Trump. And 10 years later, the CIA, which was started by Robert Lovett, Allen Dulles, Prescott Bush, and several others that were members of the Skull and Bones from Yale University, started experimenting with teleportation and mind control and time travel and all sorts of crazy. But then there's Werner von Braun, who was working for the Nazis but was recruited by the United States through Operation Paperclip. He also helped the Catholic Church build a chronovisor, which is basically just a time portal, not unlike the movie Deja Vu. But it's not just that movie, it's also Back to the Future, all the whole through the series. It correlates with the entire timeline. But then we have the Stargate, which came out around George H. Bush's term as president, who's the son of Prescott Bush, who claims not to be in the CIA, but became the director of the CIA in 1976. He starts a war with a country that's in the region of ancient Sumeria, which is where the Anunnaki would have left the Stargate, which is also a way to interdimensionally travel. Now we have all these UFO sightings and nobody knows what's going on. But it could be time travelers like the movie Captain Nova, where they create a wormhole in space and send a spaceship through it. And I know what you're thinking. What if they destroy the entire world? Well, don't worry about it. CERN already destroyed the entire world, and that's causing the Mandela effect. Oh, shit.
So I never thought about this. Surprisingly, I've never thought about this. But what if someone from the future went back in time and started changing events to kind of push everything toward their success in the future? And we're just right now, we're living through that. We're living through all that fucking chaos and craziness. That's a I don't even know what to say, man. That's a lot. It's a whole fucking lot. You have to let me know what you think about that, because oh man, my brain is not working to that capacity today.
Magnetism from the square at the North Pole Center black sun, as it intersects the compass coming from Polaris, that dielectricity, it creates electricity, okay? The electricity, the moon is the anode, negative polarity, and the sun is the cathode, positive polarity, okay? That's what completes the circuit of our system, okay? The stars, just like the sun, move around in an orbit around here, okay? So now, the sun, as it says here, people say that this is just a flattened out globe, which is a lie. Because if that's the case, why does it say the white represents the sun's position in its respective months at noon? This shows sunlight inside the Arctic Circle for 24 hours from whatever, blah, 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 okay? And then on this side, it doesn't say we're moving around the sun. It says the sun moves around the Tropic of Capricorn, okay? So this is how this works. It just goes around. This is also how travel works. Okay, the GPS towards the center is you're always going north. Once you pass that center, then you're now going south. Any straight line towards the edge is going to be south. Any circle, counterclockwise or clockwise, is going to be east or west. And then to the north is that's obvious. Okay, now as the sun and stars are going around this Earth plane at roughly the same speed, okay, that's why when they're seeing, they'll never see the stars up in the north, because this is traveling with the sun. So in daytime, you don't see stars. So while it's day there, we have the opposite stars in our sky.
We have either simply light or darkness here underneath the supercell. We're looking at constructive, destructive interference between magnetism and electricity fighting out the pressure mediations.
The structure that was found in 1994 called the Göbekli Tepe, and it totally has thrown off archaeology. They've been teaching that the Sumerians are the ones that had the first written languages, but they found the Göbekli Tepe, which is a 100,000 square foot temple that dates back to 11,600 years ago. Existed 6,000 years before the Sumerians, 7,000 years before Stonehenge and the pyramids. So this thing had been standing for over 1,000 years, and it has these giant 16-foot pillars in the middle of them, 10 tons each. And they have these carvings and stuff, very intricate layouts of the star constellations. It depicts the alignment of the stars and the sun. It was a prediction of when the flood was going to happen. So the flood that the whole world talks about, every culture has a flood story, that happened 5,000 years ago. This pillar is 11,000. Yeah, but here's where it gets crazy.
Bro, what the fuck? How you gonna do me like that? How you just gonna cut it off like that? Fuck. I know that there's like a lot of places around Göbekli Tepe as well that are very similar. It's like not just that area that they dug up. It's like just miles around. It's like a massive like city with like homesteads and just like a ton of different sites from that era in history that they've been also finding shit at, which is pretty wild. So I don't know if that's what he was going to get into, but that's stuff that I've seen on it.
Well, it took a couple months, but we finally have our first Loch Ness Monster sighting of 2023. Apparently there's this webcam watcher in Ireland, and he just sits and watches the webcam for disturbances, and he found one. As we pan back over, see that little movement in the water? That's one. That's one of them. Let's go to the other one. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Right there. Apparently that's the Loch Ness Monster. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. Like and follow for more.
I mean, obviously that's the Loch Ness Monster, right? I mean, what else could it be? I mean, what else could be in that natural body of water swimming around that can make small ripples in the water other than the Loch Ness Monster? And there's no other explanation.
Terrifying theory about Area 51.
Why is Area 51 classified? Why would you keep that so secret? Because we did this horrible program out there, and the government doesn't want anyone to know about that, ever. People want to believe they're aliens. Right? But if you go back in time, it was a base hidden inside of a base, and it was all about beating Stalin at his propaganda campaign.
So Stalin created some sort of a craft, a UFO, something that looked like it would be from another planet, invaded our airspace, and then let this drone crash land on the ground with these things. They looked like aliens, but they turned out to be humans that were manipulated surgically to look like aliens.
Yes, and then Stalin would say, not only do we have technology better than you, but we have a better propaganda department than you. I interview a man who worked for the Atomic Energy Commission. Joe, he told me that he also worked on the program, where we wanted to see how the Russians did what they did, how they made human beings look like this.
Who do they alter?
He said they were handicapped children.
Oh, Jesus.
Pretty sure that was AI voices, but that theory in its own is fucked up. I've never heard about that. That's fucked up. I mean, what else do you say about that? If they were taking handicapped children and manipulating them physically to look alien and then putting them in these drones to spy on us, to fuck with us, that's wild. That's a crazy concept. True or not, that's fucking wild. That's fucked up, dude.
Hello?
This one here smells great. Which one? Smells like Mother's crazy sister Kate. Oh, you think so? Yeah, I do. It smells so good. She couldn't have been that crazy. I don't think so. Oh, you don't think so, huh? No. Well, she put her poodle one time in a microwave oven to eat it. Yeah, to eat it. Oh, no. No, 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 silly, to dry it. But it exploded, and they were both found dead. She must have been out of her head. Here it is. There's my favorite perfume.
Nope.
The scariest thing in the world, claustrophobia.
Hell fucking no, dude. Nope. Dude, my sorry, get a little anxious. My two biggest fears are the ocean and being buried alive. And tight spaces, underwater. Dude, there's no way I could even hold my breath. I'd be freaking out if I was in that situation. That chick has balls of fucking steel. I'm not even just saying that because it's 2023 and, you know, chicks can have balls now. But balls or no balls, that broad's got some fucking nuts on her for doing that shit. Because no, you will not catch me doing that shit at all.
In 2005, an anonymous source sent a series of emails to a UFO discussion group led by former U.S. government employee Victor Martinez. Project Serpo is an alleged top-secret exchange program between the United States government and an alien planet called Serpo in the Zeta Reticuli star system. Zeta Reticuli is a wide binary star system in the southern constellation of Reticulum. From the southern hemisphere, the pair can be seen with the naked eye as a double star in very dark skies. These emails detailed the existence of an exchange program between the U.S. government and the Ebens, alien beings from Serpo, a planet from the Zeta Reticuli star system. The program was thus called Project Serpo. The source identified himself as a retired employee of the government, claiming he had participated in a special program. The program's origins lay with the two UFO crashes in New Mexico in 1947, the famous Roswell incident, and another one in Corona, California. He claimed one extraterrestrial survived the crash and was transferred to the Los Alamos National Laboratory. The other 6 deceased extraterrestrials were placed in a freezing facility in the same laboratory. Establishing communications with the scientists and military personnel, the survivor provided them with the location of its home planet and continued to cooperate until its death in 1952. The alien provided information regarding the items found inside the crashed UFOs. One of the items was a communication device that it was allowed to use, contacting its home planet. A meeting was set for April 1964 when an alien craft landed near Alamogordo, New Mexico. Upon retrieving the bodies of their dead comrades, the extraterrestrials engaged in an information exchange that was carried out in English, thanks to the alien's translation device. One thing led to another, and in 1965, the aliens accepted to take a group of humans back to their planet as part of the exchange program. 12 military personnel were carefully selected for a 10-year stay on Serpo. The 10 men and 2 women were specialists in various fields, and their task was to gather as much information as possible regarding all aspects of life, society, and technology on the alien planet. They were 3 years late and 4 people short when they finally returned in 1978. 2 men had died on the alien planet. 1 man and 1 woman had decided to stay. The journey to Serpo, located 37 light years from Earth, took only 9 months aboard the alien craft. They had learned that Serpo was a planet similar to our own, albeit smaller. It orbited around a binary star system and had an atmosphere similar in composition to the one on Earth. However, the 2 suns meant there were higher levels of radiation, and the 12 humans had to resort to protection at all times. 2 of them died from complications. The heat was extreme, and it took the remaining humans several years to adjust. Another problem was the food. The crew had taken enough food to last them for 2.5 years, but eventually had to resort to eating native Eben food. Anyone who's traveled abroad knows about the serious gastrointestinal implications posed by eating local food, but the human crew eventually adjusted. Another problem was the length of the day on Serpo, which was 43 Earth hours long. Also, it never got fully dark as their night skies were dimly lit by the smaller sun. The crew had complete freedom to explore the alien planet, and they were not hindered in any way. The geology of the alien world was different. There were few mountains and no oceans. Several types of plant-like life existed, but mostly near the polar area, where it was cooler. There were also types of animal life, and some of the larger ones were used by Ebens for work and other tasks, but never as food sources. They produced their food through industrial processes, of which they had many. The inhabitants of Serpo lived in small communities led by a large city. They lacked a central government, but seemed to be doing fine without it. The Ebens had leadership and an army, but the Earth team noticed they never used weapons of any type, and violence was virtually unheard of. They had no concept of money or commerce. Every Eben was issued items in accordance with their needs. The planet's population was about 650,000 individuals. The human crew noted the Ebens were disciplined in all aspects of their lives, working on schedules based on the movements of their suns. There were no other civilizations on Serpo except the Ebens. Their method of reproduction was similar to our own, but it had a much lower success rate. Therefore, their children were highly isolated. In fact, the only problem the human crew had was when they intended to photograph Eben children. They were escorted away by the army and asked not to attempt that again. Upon returning to Earth, the remaining 8 members of the expedition were quarantined for a year. During this period, they were debriefed, and the complete account amassed around 3,000 pages. All members of the expedition have since died from various complications due to radiation exposure. The fate of the 2 people who chose to remain on Serpo is unknown. The Ebens have not contacted Earth since 1985.
It's a really interesting story. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've read the book Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. He's the guy that wrote The Martian, and he's the guy that wrote that short story, The Egg, about like how we're all, the same living consciousness. You've probably seen that if you watch these kind of videos, or if you've even watched my videos. But Project Hail Mary is I'm not going to spoil it, but it just kind of reminds me of this. But it's a really cool story. It makes me wonder. So obviously, if they're alien civilizations, they make it to us, they are more advanced in like that area of technology. But I wonder what areas of technology they would be less advanced in. Like I read another sci-fi series. I'm not going to ruin it. Unless you want to know, you can ask me. But for instance, there's a super advanced civilization that comes here to kind of try to take over. And basically the one up that we have on them is that they don't have the concept of like sarcasm, right? Like they can't be dishonest essentially. And that's like the one up that we have, the only way that we have to defeat them. So even though they're like super advanced, basically they read minds. That's how they talk. So they don't have a concept of lying, because like you wouldn't be able to lie. So they don't lie. They don't understand it. So in a situation like this, it just makes me wonder, this kind of alien race that made it all the way to us, like where they would be lacking, I guess, in advancement in comparison to humans.
Wi-Fi radiation does all kinds of bad things, including causing cancer.
Wi-Fi radiation causes cancer?
From your cell phone. I mean, there's cell phone tumors.
Pause it, please. I'm so sorry, because we just have to fact check this crap in real time. Cell phones emit levels of non-ionizing radiation. The ionizing radiation is the more extreme kind of radiation that causes cancer. It emits very, very low levels of non-ionizing radiation. So let's just be clear about that before we hear, the rest of this complete nonsense.
I'm always a little weary about who's fact checking things, right? Because you never really know. I know that people watching this, and myself included in a lot of cases, there's got to be some sort of ulterior motive. There's got to be some people that benefit from disinformation and misinformation on things. So let's just say this woman, I don't know who she is, so I'm not saying this is what's happening, but just using this as an example, if she was essentially paid to research things and only to release the good about products and not release, information about the negative effects of products, like you couldn't take her serious, right? And I know that like the food industry, this has happened in the past with, like seed oils and, basically make like Crisco. Crisco's bad for you. Animal fat's bad for you. Seed oils are good for you, when they used to be used to fucking lubricate machines, right? Seed oils are terrible for us. Also similar with the breakfast industry, like people used to not eat breakfast. It wasn't really a thing until, you know, they wanted to basically up production on bacon and eggs and shit like that. So like one of the most famous marketers in the world, you know, marketed breakfast as being, you know, something that's like really good for you, you know, a surplus of food and calories while, you know, utilizing this highly profitable food source and the production behind, you know, bacon and eggs and stuff like that. So these are all things that have been recorded, and you can look further into them yourself, or I'll look more into them if you want me to, and we can watch some more about, you know, the food industry and the breakfast conspiracy, I guess. But yeah, man, I don't know. It just kind of trailed off there for a minute, but I don't know. It's just really important that we kind of vet both sides, right? We can't just accept things because they're given to us, but we also can't blindly accept the opposition just because we've always been lied to. And this is a kind of a debate and discussion that I have with people on this channel all the time in the comments and stuff. You know, I have some people get mad at me, which is fine. I don't give a shit. You know, you're open to your opinion, you're fine. But they actually get mad that I don't just blindly agree with all these conspiracies. I had somebody say, like, you know, just don't bother talking about them if you're not going to agree with them. I'm like, no. First of all, fuck off. This is my channel. I'm going to fucking talk about shit how I want. And secondly, there's no way I'm just going to blindly accept things. Because if you blindly accept the opposition, you're just as bad as somebody who blindly accepts the general consensus of things, the whatever you're told, right? Like, you were doing yourself a disservice, and you were doing the free-thinking community, I guess, a disservice too, if you're not vetting all the information that you have. Like, if you're just going to not believe things for the sake of them being told to us since we were born, because there's a lot of disinformation and a lot of lies and shit, but then you're just going to blindly accept things because, oh, they told me that, so it must be untrue, and this is the opposite of that, so it must be true. You're no better. You're no better than the people that are lying to you. Just because you will disregard one thing doesn't mean that you can blindly accept another thing. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So I'm going to continue to try to look at these topics as rational and logical as I can from an unbiased point of view and tell you what my thoughts are based on the information I have or don't have. So I will always ask for more information from you. I will always ask you to correct me if I have something wrong based on knowledge that you have, not assumptions that you have, but knowledge and insight you have based on research. And I will continue to watch things and try to learn. And I will not blindly accept things just because they're different from what we're told or just because they sound cool. That's just not how I fucking roll. So, but with that being said, this is the end of the video, guys. I know this one's a little shorter, and I apologize. My internet is being the absolute fucking worst today. A lot of these videos I've had to watch or try to watch, attempt to watch like 3 or 4, sometimes 5 times before I actually made it through the whole video. So, I mean, by that point, my reaction like isn't genuine anymore because I have time to think about it, right? But we got some good clips here. Finally got some out. Finally made it through. But thanks for watching. If this is your first time here and you liked what you saw, awesome. That's fucking great. Thank you so much for watching. Consider liking, subscribing, joining the Discord, and sending me videos you want me to watch, and watch some other videos. You know, watch some of the past videos when my internet wasn't being an idiot. They're longer, and and I'm not as frustrated in those videos. So, Lucid Crew, thank you. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for watching. Thank you for everybody that's, you know, taken or joined the YouTube membership and donated super chats. Thanks to everybody who's bought the merch and followed my SoundCloud and joined the Discord and subscribed on the channel and give me more topics to talk about. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you had an awesome holiday, and I hope you have a great weekend. And until next time, peace.